Hello, and welcome to Flashpoint Essay, where we bring you the sharpest, most electrifying stories in South African politics. Today's news takes a dramatic turn as the Democratic Alliance's attempt to embarrass President Cyril Ramaphosa over budget cuts has boomeranged in a way few anticipated. What was supposed to be a strategic political move by the opposition party has now turned into a spectacular political miscalculation, leaving many in the DA red-faced and scrambling for cover. Stay with us, because this story is more than just about numbers. It's about power plays, public perception, and a government that's learning how to push back hard. It all began with the DA launching a high-profile campaign to hold the ANC-led government accountable for what it described as reckless and damaging budget cuts that were affecting basic services. Their narrative was simple yet effective: paint Ramaphosa as the president who failed to safeguard the most vulnerable, while squandering billions on bloated state departments and unnecessary expenditures. From press briefings to parliamentary debates, DA leaders went all in, hoping to hammer the message home to South Africans: the ANC cannot be trusted with the national purse. They even went as far as compiling a scathing dossier that highlighted hospitals lacking basic medicine, schools operating without electricity, and municipalities struggling to pay staff. These stories were real, and they struck a chord with many citizens who are growing increasingly frustrated with government failures. On paper, this was political gold for the DA, a clean, hard-hitting campaign that directly targeted Ramaphosa's leadership and economic policies. But what followed caught them completely off guard. Ramaphosa's team, often accused of being slow to react or weak on messaging, came out swinging. Instead of ignoring the attacks, the presidency launched a counteroffensive. Treasury officials released internal memos and financial breakdowns showing that many of the so-called budget cuts the DA was crying foul about were actually reprioritizations aimed at reducing government debt and ensuring long-term economic stability. The message from the presidency was clear: hard decisions had to be made now to avoid even more catastrophic consequences later. Then came the real game changer. The ANC exposed the fact that several of the municipalities and provinces hardest hit by service delivery problems were in fact governed by coalitions in which the DA played a key role. In one case, a municipality in the Western Cape, governed entirely by the DA, was flagged for failing to spend its allocated national grants, allowing the money to lapse while residents suffered. This revelation pulled the rug right out from under the DA's campaign. Instead of looking like a party that cared about service delivery, they suddenly appeared incompetent and hypocritical in the eyes of many. What made things worse for the DA was the media's growing skepticism. Several respected analysts and journalists began questioning the party's motives and accuracy. Headlines started shifting from DA slams Ramaphosa over cuts to DA campaign riddled with inconsistencies. Some reports even suggested that the DA had exaggerated certain claims, using outdated or misrepresented data to fuel public outrage. The party's credibility, which it has worked so hard to build as the sensible alternative, took a serious knock. In Parliament, the backlash intensified. ANC MPs who are usually divided and disorganized rallied behind Ramaphosa, slamming the DA for weaponizing real-life suffering to score political points. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana gave a fiery address where he accused the DA of gaslighting the nation and manipulating the facts to create chaos. They speak of cuts, he said, but they failed to mention how many of those funds were never used efficiently in the first place. His speech drew cheers from the ANC benches and even left some opposition members stunned by its blunt force. Even within the DA, murmurs of discontent began to grow. Some senior members, speaking off the record, admitted that the party may have pushed the campaign too hard without properly verifying all its claims. Others worried that the strategy, while aggressive, lacked nuance and failed to anticipate how easily it could be turned around. One insider was quoted as saying, "We thought we were cornering Ramaphosa, but we gave him an opportunity to look presidential again. That's the last thing we wanted." The broader public reaction has been mixed. While there is undeniable anger over government shortcomings and economic hardships, many South Africans are also tired of political mudslinging. The backlash against the DA's failed campaign shows that voters are becoming more discerning, demanding facts over rhetoric and accountability from all sides, not just the ruling party. In the end, what was supposed to be a political slam dunk has instead reignited sympathy for Ramaphosa, who now appears more measured and pragmatic in contrast to a DA leadership that came across as desperate and out of touch. The irony couldn't be more striking. In trying to tear down the president, the DA may have inadvertently strengthened him, at least in the public eye. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: South African politics remains a high-stakes battlefield where every move can either make or break a party's future. The DA may recover from this misstep, but it will have to rethink its strategy if it hopes to win hearts, minds, and ultimately votes. Meanwhile, Ramaphosa, once again underestimated, walks away from this latest skirmish a little taller, a little more emboldened, and possibly a little more dangerous to his political opponents. Thank you for watching Flashpoint Essay. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more explosive political updates. We're just getting started.